The movie opens up with a young man named Geralt picking up a leaf to sniff it. His friend, known as Jaskier, asks if he's going to eat that. He replied, stating he is starving, but not that starving. However, he's tracking a monster scent. The monster itself is called Alanorax, a monster who is incredible at climbing rocks and swimming. Unfortunately for the two, Alanorax arrived out of the mountains and attacks Geralt. Immediately, a battle ensues between Geralt and the huge monster. Geralt shows his skill in this fight by combining magic and strength. This monster proves to be also tough, as Geralt struggles to defeat him. So during this battle, the Alanorax takes Geralt inside the ocean to try suffocate him, but Geralt proves to be also tough as he doesn't give up the fight. Later on, Geralt brought out a fire on his hand, which made the monster to run for its life, but unfortunately for it, Geralt uses his magic to freeze the ocean water, thereby trapping it. So just as Geralt plans to finish the mysterious creature off, a family of mermaids arrived at the scene to beg for mercy on behalf of the monster. Geralt then informed them he was simply hired to kill the monster because this isn't the first time it is attacking the village, but the Siren explains that the monster meant no harm. It doesn't eat humans but animals, so its only crime was that it was hungry. After a long conversation, Geralt spared the Alanorax's life and asked the mermaids to give him a ride back to land. Once they did so, the sea creatures head back to their kingdom inside the ocean, where a very tense meeting is held among them. The sea creatures complain bitterly to their king that even their children cannot eat just anything because of the humans, and they even hired a Witcher to kill the Alanorax, a sea creature like them. So they demand for a war from their king because it seems the humans are in control over their way of lives, but the king is of the opinion to maintain peace with the humans as it is just the best option, at least for now. Although the creatures sees this has been weak from the king's side, because their daughter is in love with a human prince called a Glovel. The queen decided to take their proposals into consideration, but their daughter named S.A. Chinaz doesn't agree with this. Just then, Melisena, a sister to the queen, shows up to agree with S.A. Chinaz, who is her niece. She believes a wedding union with the humans could be the answer to peace, but the king remains hesitant as he doesn't want his daughter to marry a human. During this, we discovered that Melisena was a traitor, and she is the person the king fell in love first. When Melisena reminded the queen about that, she angrily and furiously sent her away. The scene then shifted to a bar, as Jaskier wonders why Geralt changed his mind on killing the Alanorax, but Geralt replies stating the creature haven't killed anyone, and the humans might actually be the villains in this whole situation. This leaves Jaskier frustrated because Geralt is a monster hunter with a moral code. It is a code of killing monsters who only hurt humans, and that code has made them very broke. During this conversation, we get a flashback where Geralt was in a relationship with a witch known as Yennefer, the first woman he ever fell in love with. Back to the present day, the boys are thrown out of the bar as they are known as a witcher who wouldn't kill a monster, which is very funny. Just as they are thrown out, a man from the palace shows up to give Jaskier a job in the palace as a guitarist since he is talented, and he wants Jaskier to be at the festival tomorrow, which the king will also be present. The next day, the two attends the festival, while Jaskier soon reunite with an old friend named Essie. She informed Jaskier that she was the one who begged Drauhard to give him the gig at the festival. Jaskier introduced her to Geralt, so they exchange pleasantries, and it seems they both like each other. Jaskier informs us that he and Essie grew up together in Bremervoort. In a flashback, we get to discover that when Jaskier was a child, he used to get bullied a lot. From what we learned, Jaskier, as a young kid, doesn't know how to swim, which the bullies knew about, then decided to push him. Luckily for Jaskier, he was fine. But soon after they began choking him to death, fortunately for him, Essie showed up to stop the bullies. This was when Jaskier and Essie met for the first time. Jaskier is very sad they ruined his guitar, and when he insulted them, Zealous tries to finish him off, but Essie punched him. Geralt asked him what happened after that. Jaskier reveals to us that he was the king's bastard son. However, during their discussion, the king arrived, and surprisingly, the king's name is revealed to be Usvald, whose son's name is a Glovel. Jaskier is shocked when he saw Zealous as the commander. He's childhood bully. Zealous was appointed as the military advisor by Prince Glovel. The people began to whisper negatively towards the king. At that moment, Essie informed Geralt that the people are fed up because there have been 5 attacks on divers in the last few months and nobody has been held accountable for this. She believes the mermaids are responsible for the divers disappearing. However, the king does not want to retaliate because Prince Glovel is very much in love with the mermaid princess. After which, the festival dance begins, so Geralt goes outside to catch some air. Nearby, some group of divers are shown to have packed a lot of shells and fishes from the ocean, which obviously they plan to sell. However, while they were at it, some mermaids shows up and killed the leader, before killing everyone at the scene. Later on, Geralt approached Geralt, informing him that she is simply here to spend some time with the mysterious man who inspired her friend, Jaskier. The romantic tension between these two seems to be getting stronger. However, they are soon interrupted by Jaskier, who just finished his performance. Essie goes in to perform her song, but to our surprise, she is very good at what she does. Even Geralt could testify to this. Back inside the festival, a young beautiful human princess is brought and suggested for the prince to marry. One of the divers who managed to survive but seriously injured managed to reach the festival to inform the king on what happened, stating he saw the attack and was spared by the fish known as the Vodnik, after which he died at the spot. So seeing this, the king has no other choice than to go on a war with the mermaids, but Commander Zelist gives the king a better option. He wants the king to send Geralt the Witcher to find the mermaid who is responsible for all this and kill it. However, Geralt realized that if he doesn't accept this offer, a war could break out between the humans and mermaids, so he decided to accept the mission to avoid war. At night, Geralt and Jaskier continue to discuss, but this conversation always ends up with Geralt mentioning Essie. Jaskier realizes that Geralt likes Essie and wants him to date her because she is like a sister to him, plus she is a very good woman, unlike that raven serpent demon he formerly dated. The next day, just as Geralt finished having a terrible nightmare, he got attacked by Vodnik, the sea creatures clan who attacked the fishermen from earlier. This battle between these two was so intense as they both proved to be very skillful. The Vodnik is so skillful that even Geralt himself had a hard time to defeat. Quickly, he drinks a potion that enhances his strength, making him to defeat the creature brutally. But yet again, Geralt allows it to escape. Just then Jaskier woke up and is still very much surprised about Geralt's decisions to spare a creature that almost killed him, but Geralt replies that he let it go because it's more helpful to him alive than dead. There are blood stains of the Vodnik on the floor, and Geralt plans to use its blood to track it. Geralt realized someone is following them, and when he attacks, he discovers the person is Essie. She wants to help stop the war. Meanwhile, at the seashores, Aglovel and Shinez share some romantic moment together. Just as they talk, Shinez sees the Witcher heading towards the Vodnik den, so quickly, she leaves the prince to go warn her people. Later on, Geralt found the Vodnik, so he ran towards it and pinned it to the ground for questioning. He asked the Vodnik who sent it to kill him, but the Vodnik replies the person who sent it would kill him if he says a word. However, just as the Vodnik was about to reveal the name of the person that sent it, Commander Zelist shows up with his soldiers and kills it with his spear. Geralt is very furious by this because it seems Zelist is trying his best to push for war. Just then, the Vodnik attacks Commander Zelist and his men, leading to a bloody confrontation between them. The mermaids also join the fight to assist the Vodniks. One of the Vodnik attack and tries to suffocate Essie under the water, but Geralt dives in and uses his magic to rescue her. Once Geralt was back to the surface, he threatens Commander Zelist to leave or he will kill the only real monster he sees. Meanwhile, one of the Siren gets brutally injured in an attack done by Zelist. It happens to be the cousin of the Mermaid Queen. Melisina is of the opinion that the humans are trying to distract Shinez from her job in protecting the sea, but Shinez believes Aglovel can't be responsible for the attack. Zelist must have acted on his own. However, during this, the Siren dies. Back to the guys, Essie treated Geralt wounds, while Jaskier suggests they should go speak to the prince and the mermaid girl to get the truth from the right source. Geralt is worried that the humans aren't looking for truths, as they might simply be looking for ways to exterminate the sea creatures, since the humans are looking for shortcuts and making money, so selling shells underneath the ocean can make them rich, but the sea creatures are just an obstacle to them. The next day, they meet with the prince and his mermaid. Geralt asks her if she was the one who sent the Vodnik to kill him, but she revealed she had no hand in that. The mermaids suddenly begin to suspect Commander Zelist, because the moment the Vodnik was about to confess the name of the person that sent it, that was when Commander Zelist shows up and killed it. After hearing all this, Prince Aglovel became furious and began arguing with the princess, as Aglovel is in full support of Commander Zelist's actions, while the princess is mad at him because Aglovel is defending the one who killed her cousin. This made tears rolled out from her eyes as she dives back into the ocean. A burial is later held for the princess cousin. Back to Commander Zelist. He is busy taking children from their mothers and enlisting them into the army to fight the sea creatures even though they haven't come of age. Meanwhile, as days goes by, the Mermaid King trained his soldiers to prepare them for war, while the humans did same too. They trained day and night in a very brutal manner. Even though China's feelings for the human prince have changed, she doesn't still want the war because thousands of lives are going to be lost. Melisina gives China's a portion that can allow her to take a human form, believing in that way, she will not only be with the human prince, but she will also be able to convince them to stop the war. Unknowingly, Melisina has a plan of hers. Geralt and his crew found the dead bodies of the divers. They also saw a necklace worn only by the mermaid royal family. Essie believes it to be the mermaid queen responsible for the deaths of the diver. Quickly, Geralt decided to head back to the castle and report this to the king. He tells the king that a mermaid royal is responsible for the killings, but he believes the mermaid king, queen, nor the princess isn't responsible for this. It was a creature who took the shape of a kraken to do the work of 10 Vodnik. Geralt also reveals that the person responsible for this was the queen's sister, Melisina, because she is the only one among the mermaid royals that can shapeshift and make portions. Immediately, we discovered Melisena was present among them as the human princess, which the king had been insisting Prince Aglovil to marry. A quick fight ensues, and after the fight, she escaped out of the window. The king reveals to have known about this, as he doesn't want the marriage between his son and the mermaid princess to work out, as the throne has been with their family for 11 generations, making it a reason to prevent the marriage, so even if it means forming an alliance with Melisena to stop the marriage, and he also wants to start a war with the mermaids. Commander Zealous decided to stop serving the king for what he did, and even Aglovil hates the king for that. He orders his guards to arrest Geralt and his crew along with Zealous, as Zealous is useless to him, and he was just a mistake, and asked his soldiers to prepare for war. Soon after, before the king begins the war, he decides to firstly kill the Witcher. But since a Witcher doesn't fear pain or even death, he decided to hurt Geralt in another ways, by murdering his friends in front of him. Just as they tried to first execute Zealous, he throws a back fleet, giving Geralt and his crew an opportunity to fight for their freedom. Later on, the mermaid princess comes to their rescue, by using water to sweep the king's men away. As the war between the humans and the sea creatures begins in a bloody battle, Melisena shows up and transforms into a deadly gigantic kraken, after which she kills Zealous by ripping him apart, and then send the Vodniks to kill the Witcher while she goes after the princess. This was truly an epic battle scene, as on the other hand, Melisena captures the princess, who asked her why she's doing all this. Melisena informs her that being the queen was supposed to be her position, but when she wasn't able to bear a child for the king decided to marry her junior sister Diet, which resulted to her birth. Just as Mulzina is about killing her, Prince Aglovil shows up. He tries to save Shinaz, but he gets defeated by a Vodnik who also attempted to kill him, but the king saves him and pushes him to another boat. Meanwhile, Geralt continues to eliminate as many Vodniks as possible, and then cuts off Melisena hand to save Princess Shinaz, making another serious battle ensues. While at this, Geralt struggles to defeat Melisena. Nearby, King Usvald cuts the tail of Shinaz and pushes her inside the ocean to kill her, hoping for her to drown, as she wouldn't be able to swim without her tail. So just as Geralt battles against Melisena, Essie throws his sword toward Geralt as he flies with it inside Melisena's stomach. He sliced her stomach from the inside in a diabolical manner, before then finishing her by stabbing his sword inside her brain. In a plot twist, it is revealed Shinaz managed to survive all thanks to her mother, who also has the ability to heal. Prince Aglovil informed the surviving soldiers that the mermaids are not their enemies, but they have only been misled by those they trusted. He decides to end the war and promises peace to reign among their kinds. Days later, Prince Aglovil decided to get married to Shinaz. He took a portion that turned him to a mermaid so he can always be with her, which his father doesn't like at all. The kingdom lineage would simply die, giving the fact Zealous is dead, and Prince Aglovil doesn't care about the throne no more. At night, Geralt and Essie took time for a special moment. The movie then came to an end. Kindly subscribe for more recaps like this. Thanks for watching and goodbye.